Alright, today I'm going to go ahead and tell you how breaking into computer systems as a teenage hacker has changed my life. How it definitely helped me avoid being scammed and also made me a lot of money in the crypto space. Um, as usual, like you may have heard the last video, I hope you listen to it. If not, go back and watch it. You're going to miss some important information if you don't. None of this is advice. I don't suggest you do anything that I did. It's not smart. A lot of it ain't. Like, I guess some of it's pretty smart, but you know what I mean. I don't encourage anybody to do the stuff I did. This is a lesson for me, and I'm trying to go ahead and share my experience, my life story to help you and hopefully be a lesson to you. Do not repeat or do anything I do. Um, as always, nothing of this is financial advice. None of this is financial advice. Um, so when I was a kid, I was probably like 12, I guess, maybe 10, no, 10, 12 years old. I got a Commodore 64. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you my trauma stories from the Commodore 64. So if anybody knows, Commodore first computer out, first public computer out, and it had like it had some cartridges. You can put some cartridges in, you play a couple games. I only had like two of those cartridges, and then I had this book. Okay, it was a book like that thick, and it was like two games, maybe three games in it. And what you had to do is you went to the console, and you literally, mind you, like Commodore, at least my Commodore didn't. There was no hard drive or no memory or nothing. Like there was memory, but there's no hard drive. So you would have to sit there and look at this book and type everything that's in this book, word for word, line for line, because anybody that knows programming, you know that like one little thing will mess everything up. One little thing off will mess everything up. So you got to figure, like, I got this book, probably like 40, 50 pages to a game. You know what I mean? Um, and one of my, like, my memories, my trauma memories from childhood, like I'm sure a lot of you all probably went through too, probably with a game or something. But I would go ahead and I'd sit there for like hours and hours, and I'd type all this code in, and I'd be sitting there typing this code in, because I wanted to play a game. There's not like there was, there was the Odyssey. We had an Odyssey too. Like at my grandpa's, I had an Odyssey, but um, it's just one of those things where like if I wanted to play a game, this is what I had to do. Unless I wanted to play what I have, blackjack and Pac-Man, I think, like that little cartridges. But other than that, like I had to go ahead and type all this code in to play these other games. So I'd sit there for hours and hours on end, typing code in, not even knowing if it's going to work, because you can't really tell until everything's done. And my mom would get so mad that I sit in front of the computer all day. She'd come up and, bitch me out about being in front of the computer all day and why I'm not outside, and unplug it. And well, being no hard drive there, what I mean? Like, I lost all that work. So I would essentially sit there for hours and just to get rugged, you know what I mean? Just to go ahead and have my mom come in, shut the computer off on me, and now I lost 4 hours worth of work. And next time I had to do those 4 hours worth of work again. I'm not sure if I ever successfully got through programming a whole game on my Commodore. That happened to me multiple times. Um, yeah, I think I just kind of gave up hope. I don't think I ever actually, uh, actually programmed a game into my Commodore. Like I said, had Odyssey. I grew up around technology. My first actual computer like PC was a 286, IBM 286. Um, so I've been into like technology since I was a kid. Like I love technology. Um, Back in the day when I had my 286, there's a group. There's a program, I should say, not group. There's a program out there called IRC, Internet Relay Chat. And back then it was kind of like I mean, internet was the Wild West still, but like it was the Wild West, Wild West. Like anything goes. People just start up servers and stuff, right? So that's where I started to actually like I started making my hacker friends. Um, there's actually options where if you were to go into like the name settings for the server filter, and you have it do non-alphanumeric, it would come back with all kinds of weird stuff, and you would find these weird groups that you pop in, and the next thing you know, my firewall would start going off. Hundreds of people trying to hit my firewall. So that's kind of how like I got into hacking. Is I stumbled upon these groups. I kind of knew about like security, and I was playing around and stuff, but I wasn't like deep deep. You know what I mean? Um, but that's how I essentially started meeting people in the hacking world. Um, I'm not gonna get too like involved in a lot of this because I'm not like trying to I shouldn't be able to catch charges. It was a long time ago, but um, some of the fun things we did, like I don't know, we used to sit there and mind you, I did this from like probably like 14 to 21, 15 to 21ish, somewhere around there. This is what I did for fun. I mean, I'd sit there and we would have a drink and have a smoke, and we would sit there and hack people. It's just kind of like it was my entertainment. One of the things that we did that me and my friends used to do, we used to hack pedos. There used to be like boards on there with pedos, and then we'd go ahead and essentially hack their computers and hold them at ransom. We would go ahead and we know what you got going on. We would go ahead and put a script on there first. Whenever I hacked anyone, I always put a script on there first. So I put a script on their website, on their computer. It was basically just an autoexec.bat file. So that way, anytime their computer restarted, that autoexec.bat file would run. And what I'd do is I'd go ahead and set that up. I'd replace theirs with one that'll essentially wipe their computer, like everything off their computer. So we would hack people, and we'd sit there and kind of we'd take over their monitor and everything. Like, they didn't know we were there at first, and tell you pop open Notepad and start typing to them and whatnot. You know what I mean? So we would go ahead and do that, and we were like, hey, we know what you're doing. You're gonna have to go into prison type of thing. Do what we say. So we would go ahead and do stupid things like I don't know, go ahead and go to the store and get a cake and tell them you want, I like little boys on it, write an icing, and then bring it back and show us. We do stupid stuff like that. We essentially we mess with them and torture them a little bit. Like, not like torture them, we mess with them and freak them out, and then we just essentially wipe their computers. Never been a big fan of the cops or anything, so I'm not more of I'd rather just go ahead and take care of things myself if I can, do a little something. I'm not going to go ahead and, I'm not a cop person by any means. So that was kind of one thing that we did for fun. It was just to mess around, kind of we didn't feel bad at all. Why do you really feel bad if you're doing something and freaking out people that are trash people anyway? You know what I mean? There's no remorse, still isn't. Let's see, did a lot of different things, I don't know, this is way back in the day, one thing, a lot of movie shit, a lot of movie stuff just gets obscured, it gets wrong, it's not right, you know what I mean? It's a movie, they're making shit up. But the tone thing you could actually do with payphones, so it was kind of fun. You just, little tape recorder, you record a certain frequency, I think 43 hertz or some shit, but yeah, and it would, essentially get you free calls. One of the other thing that was fun, I hacked the college near me, and basically got access to the registrar of all the different, all the students that were on there. Mind you, I never done anything nefarious. I didn't hurt no one, take their stuff down besides those other people I just mentioned, but we don't care about them anyway. So I got in there and I got their student registry, and then they had essentially an ISP. Anybody that was a student there got free internet service. So I went and got that information, and then I compared it against the logs in the registry of all the different students that had accounts with the ISP. And what you'd find is that the students that lived on campus, they had free internet. They didn't use internet. They didn't need that ISP because they're not going to dial, because this is dial-up modem times, mind you. This isn't Wi-Fi, there wasn't even Wi-Fi at that time. This is just dial-up modem stuff. 5600 baud, that screechy noise I still kind of like. But so I went in and I did that. I found out all the students that didn't register internet accounts, and at the ripe age of 14, 15, I had myself essentially an ISP business. I was an internet service provider for probably 15, 20 people. And I would essentially just, here's the phone number to call in, here's your username and password, your bill's due on, whatever day. And they didn't pay me on that day, I just went in and I changed the password, you know what I mean? So, yeah, at the age of 14, 15, I had my own internet service, even though it wasn't really mine. Let's see, what else? I don't know, for a while there was a really big hack that happened to Google. And Cloud69 was one of my friends at the time, and he ended up getting busted for that. He went down for that. I was not involved by it anyway, but yeah, he got arrested for that. I was also hanging out with a group called Loft Heavy Industries. They ended up actually getting a contract, and if you don't know, usually when you hack you either kind of like leave a calling card, like if you're there's white, there's gray, and there's black hat. I was essentially gray leaning white. White doesn't do anything for harm. They're just basically trying to check for security flaws. Gray will go ahead and usually try to do stuff to stuff that doesn't belong to them, but they will most of the time help the actual people, and maybe leave a note, be like, hey, listen, you need to go ahead and close this port up. You're using the default password on your whatever FTP provider. You tell them what's up, and then they would go ahead and give them a chance to fix it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of hacking, like, you might not realize, like, I don't know if y'all do anything stuff like this, but a lot of it's social engineering too. A lot of it's talking to people, getting information out of them. You know what I mean? Like, you can brute force stuff all day, but that takes so long. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, I've always been leaning like white, gray leaning white. Um, let's see, where was I going back with this? Oh yeah. So anyway, Lafayette Industries. They ended up basically like how you got a job back then, how you got recruited was either A, you got busted and they offer you a job, or B, you leave a little calling card type thing and say, hey, fix this, blah blah blah, and maybe tell them some info how to get a hold of you if they need help. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the two ways. Well, essentially they got bought out. I want to say they got busted for hacking some company, and then they bought them out. I want to say there was like 4 or 5 people in Loft, and I think they got like 3 or 4 thousand. So like, I mean, they got earned 3 or 4 million. So they got like maybe a mil each or whatever. But essentially, they turned straight white hat working for this company because they got busted. Um, See, as far as hacking goes, let's see here. I actually a little while ago, like I'm gonna say a while ago, I did have an offer. I was helping a friend out that was I didn't know he was doing this stuff, but he apparently did it for pay, and helped him out with a job. And I had an offer to move to Thailand to work for him for 100,000 a year. And at the time, I was making good money, so it was like 100,000 a year wasn't nothing. Like why would I go move there and make what I make in a month, making a year what I make in a month? So I just never took it. But kind of wish I did in a way. It'd be interesting, but I didn't. By no means should you ever if you get that kind of opportunity. Um, I've always kind of been in tech. Let's see, when first time I ever had a tech job, I think, was I was working for an outsource. I was working for a help desk essentially. Okay, it was for Gateway. We were subletted by Gateway, so essentially I worked for Gateway's tech support as a resource technician. So I was like a tier 2 resource tech. So if like you call the people and they don't know how to fix it, then they ask like a resource tech, and like the resource tech don't know how to fix it, then they ask me type of thing. You know what I mean? So, it's kind of like level by experience. So like, a resource tech might be watching over like 30 people, a tier 2 might be watching over 60, whatever. Um, so I got hired by them, and I'm gonna tell you a fun story. And this is actually like I can tell this one all the way because they know about it. Um, so I was working for them, fast forward like a year and a half, 2 years, and there was someone in the company that in the working for Gateway sublet type thing that was trying to get a union in, and the people that were running this tech support thing that was subletted by Gateway didn't like that. Okay, so essentially they were going to go ahead and close down. They were going to close down our branch because of this union that was getting brought in. Well, everybody's pretty upset, of course, because at the time, like I got a high school diploma, like I did good in high school and everything, but I didn't really have like, high school is a whole different story. I don't think I can put that in here. Anyways, long story short, I was a hooligan, got expelled from normal high school, went to another high school that was called like the alternative, and kind of messed around there, and then ended up buckling down doing day and night classes and graduated a half year early. So there's high school. All right, but anyways, so I was working for them, and like we all kind of upset that we're losing our nice jobs and everything. So I got a wild idea that like I should take out take the company down. Um, what I ended up doing is all the servers, like the email, email server and everything else, is all like was on one server. So what I did is I essentially, it's something so stupid and simple. It's just a flood. It's like a DDoS attack. Um, I went and made basically a forward on mine to where if I got like the message hello, it forwarded it to everybody else in the company. And then I went and set up a couple other people's computers to where if they got a message with the subject hello, then they sent a message to everybody else in the company with the subject hello, mind you. So as soon as one sends, then these other two, they both send, and then those, this triggers them each time. So each time it's multiplying. It starts with one, and then two are sending, and now those two are four. You know what I mean? And then it just keeps on multiplying. It got ridiculous. It took down all their servers, which is kind of what I was shooting to do. Um, and let's see here. I think it was a Thursday that all this happened. It happened on a Thursday. They went and found out who did it. They found, I mean, it was stupid. It's not like I tried to cover my tracks. I mean, it was, there's three of us email addresses. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way to cover it. But I didn't care at the time. So all three of us got fired. It was a Thursday. We all got fired. And the next day, I get a call and they want me to come in. No. Let me think how this went. No, okay. No, I got a call. And they wanted to rehire. They said, you know what? We're taking back our termination. We are rehiring you, but do not come back to the building. So essentially, I was fired one day, rehired the next day, but told that I was not allowed back on the premises. And then, so I was like Thursday, Friday, and then I think it was Sunday was the last day. So I got fired, rehired, and laid off in a 3-day span, 3-4 day span, like over the course of a weekend. And what ended up happening is one of the people that I went and did this with, she was an intern. She was someone that was doing this for college credit, and they didn't want her to essentially lose all her college credit and everything because of this. So that's why it never actually went anywhere. Like, there's no charges pressed or nothing because they're actually really cool people about it. But yeah, no, when I was one of the head resource techs for Gateway, I got fired, rehired, laid off, fired, rehired, told not to go back, and then laid off all in a weekend. One thing that came good out of that, though, is since I was a displaced worker, I got a scholarship. I ended up going to college for computer science. School was kind of like chill. Like, I've always been good at school. I was way ahead of the curve. I slept a lot. Like, I corrected my professors a lot because they have their way of doing things, and usually it's like, buy a book or whatever. So they had their way of doing things, and I just knew lots of better ways and quicker ways to do things. So I constantly corrected them, and they don't like that at all. Side note, make sure you stay hydrated. So yeah, no, I went through school. It was pretty chill. I always sucked at English. I don't like English. Math was my thing. Good at programming. A lot of people really hated me in my statistics class. My statistics class was awesome. We had TI-86 calculators. If you know, you know. And like you can program them. You know what I mean? You can make little programs. You can program little games in them and stuff. You know what you're doing. You can, it's essentially a small computer. So I went into I was in statistics, which is one of the prereqs. And I would go in. I'd sit in the back of the class, and the professor would go ahead and do his lesson for the day. He'd write the write the fucking man, I cannot think. I want to say algorithm, but I know it's not called an algorithm in math. But he wrote the quotient, basically how to solve the problem. And I would sit there on my TI-86 as he was telling about how to solve this problem, and I would just write code. I would code it in. I'd make a little program. You know what I mean? How to solve an equation. Geez, how to solve X equation or whatever kind of equation. So that way, when it comes around, I just pull it up. I hit a button, go into there, and it says, hey, I need this variable and that variable. I give them those variables, and it pop out an answer. So I would go into class every day. I'd sit in the back. My ritual was, because this was an early class and I'm not a morning person till recently for some weird reason. I have no idea why I'm waking up so early, but um, maybe it's the ADHD. But anyway, so I'm sitting there in class, and every morning I go ahead and I write a little program like, this is how you do this equation, boom boom boom, write a program, and I go to sleep. Like I'd sleep for 40 of the 50 minutes of the class every day. Um, so it came around time for our finals, and like I asked my professor, mind you, I did ask my professor. I'm like, hey, if I make programs to go ahead and solve these equations, is that acceptable? And he's like, yes, as long as you understand how it works, which you'll need to make the program, like, go ahead. So final exam time comes around, and the guy that's been sleeping through most all these classes, I get my exam and bust out my TIA 6 and just just plow through that exam. Like, some people didn't finish it in the 50 minutes time or whatever is allotted. I think it took me like 10-15 minutes. Like, I just bust through it. I turned in. I get 100%, and like, everybody that knows me in that class was so mad. Like, they're like, I didn't even get to finish it, or it took me like all hour and I only got like, like a 70, talking about how hard it was and everything else, and like, it was nothing. Like, I didn't, yeah, it was nothing. It was super simple. Well, because I work smarter, not harder. Um, see other fun college stories that aren't too, risque. Um, One of my professors, he we'll call him Shem, and he had us. We had to make a game. We had to make a text-based RPG game, and that was our assignment. That was essentially what the whole thing was. Like, that was our final. When you go in, this is what you're building through this whole semester. Well, it was another one of those things where I slept through it. I procrastinated, and I just kind of like didn't feel like doing it. So in my normal fashion, about a couple days, maybe a week, couple days before it's due, I start freaking out. And a little background, like, this professor, nerdy, I guess. He's a computer science professor. I mean, granted, nerdy, right? And he has 3 cats. He loves his cats. He like talk about his cats all the time. Like, Shem, if you're out there, he talk about his cats all the time. He like absolutely love these cats. And if there's another one of those, if you know type of things. Back in the day, there was this story that was going around, like, the internet be the internet, about bonsai kittens and how these people were essentially shoving these kittens in jars and letting them grow in the jar, so that way they're all deformed and looking, all messed up. So I had to make this text-based RPG, and my normal fashion, I got like, a week, couple days left, bust it out. So I start working on it, and essentially I made a character called the Evil Dr. Bonsai, of course, and he kidnapped Princess Shem and his kittens and turned them into bonsai kittens. So essentially, the text-based RPG, mind you, when we had to do this, we had to get up in front of the class and we had to demonstrate and show everybody how to go through it and all the different options, just make it work, make sure it works. So I'm up in front of the class and I'm showing them this game I made about the evil Dr. Bonsai and how he kidnapped Princess Shem and all his kittens. And you go through and you save the kittens, and then you save Princess Shem, and you defeat the evil Dr. Bonsai. And to say the least, he wasn't happy about it. He didn't like my game. Maybe it was the fact that he was a princess. Maybe it was the fact that I was shoving his cats in jars. I don't know. Either way, he didn't like it. I still got like an A on it, but I mean, because you couldn't help but give me a good grade. I did a good job. It's just the topic and subject matter he didn't like very well. um, so yeah, I don't know. I did the college thing, bust through that. I just did it like, I only had 2 years, so I did it straight. Like, I did, like, usually a full boat is 6 classes. I did 8 classes a semester for 3 semesters a year. I did fall, spring, or fall, summer, and spring, whatever, however it goes. Basically, I went the first semester, the second semester, and as well as the summer one also. And I ended up busting through a computer science degree and an internet network specialist degree in those 2 years. Yeah, I don't know. School was kind of easy. It wasn't that bad. I didn't like it. I just don't like school. But It was easy. After that, let's see. I I had a actually had an offer, a job offer, stepping on this cord, by the U.S. government, and they wanted me to work for them, making software that would track the freighters via satellite. So all the big ships that transfer cargo and stuff, they wanted me to go ahead and program software for them to go ahead and track them with satellite. At the time, like I knew the person that would be working above me. He was like the head of security for a government thing. He was actually a friend's dad, and I wish I would have took the offer in a way. Um, it was paid. It was a paid job, so I mean I did get money, but the stipulations with the job is that, well, of course I gotta make the software, and I also have to stay in school, and they were gonna pay for my school, but I had to do school full time and then work full time, which I wasn't about. Like I just didn't feel like doing it. I was also offered another job by the company that makes the software for Midas, for the car places. You know what I mean? Like they do it for a lot of different auto body shops, but like garages. But Midas was a main customer. So I ended up going working for them. Did like a tech support lead thing. Worked a little bit with the development people, but not too much. Like um, let's see. I did a bunch of just different little weird side jobs and stuff. Like I led a team. I can't remember the name of the firm, but there was a stock firm that I led, basically tearing down everything and then bringing it to the new location, setting everything up, and then making sure everything was connected back to the New York Stock Exchange so they can do their trading. That was kind of a fun job. Um, I did I did actually a few jobs for like the Secretary of State and stuff. It was kind of interesting. It was through another like outsourcing type of thing. Like all these, like I didn't work for them. I was just hired in. The Secretary of State one was actually pretty badass because, like, mind you, this is back in maybe like 2003, something like that. And I got this like I had it somewhere. I probably don't got no more, but I had it somewhere. It was an envelope. Okay, it was a government envelope, top secret, confidential information, and it was basically like how to set up their servers and how to upgrade them and everything, as well as like the Windows disk and their Windows key and everything like that. Um, that was kind of a fun job. Like I got paid stupid, like mind you, like 2003 or whatever, and I was getting paid like $50 or $65 an hour to go ahead and update these systems. Needless to say, like I milked it. Like what I probably could have done in 4 hours, I made last 2 days. Like because why not? You're sending me to some other city, to go ahead and set up all this stuff. You're paying all my food, all my lodging. You know what I mean? You're paying me a stupid rate. Like I mean, I probably made at the time at the Midas place, I was probably making like I think it was making $18 an hour or something like that, $18 to $20 an hour, and these people are paying me like 50, 65 an hour. So of course I'm gonna like milk that and get the most of it. Um, let's see here. What else did I do that's more computer related? Honestly, that's about it. I mean, right now I'm programming, doing a lot of programming. Got a lot of different projects that I'm working on. My ADHD and whatever kind of drags me all over the place, and I'll get frustrated with something, and I'll go ahead and put it off to the side, and I'll start something else that's been on my mind. You know what I mean? I'll get back around to it eventually, hopefully, maybe, kind of. um, Currently making a bot to scan Sol for any non-pump and moon tokens, and then go and give them a rating. Um, if you keep up with the channel at all, like I was helping a project called FTP XBT, doing some stuff like smoothest migration ever. Like we ended up launching for meme, having to rename it because we couldn't get on dexes and stuff like that because the name essentially it was F the police, you know what I mean? So like we couldn't get Chinese call community stuff. We ended up doing a migration. We launched on for meme again, which I didn't want to do, but we did anyway. And yeah, I made a nice little script, and it had a wallet, and like you sent the tokens over, and just like it was so it was so seamless. Like we did the whole thing live on camera. I just sat there on camera and you know essentially transferred everyone's tokens. Like from time that we decided to go ahead and do the announcement and opening up the migration wallet for people to send in their tokens, which we ended up getting back 82% of the tokens that were, like, 82% of all the tokens, not just the ones that were in circulation, like all the tokens, which we didn't expect to be that successful with. But we got them all back. We, did the migration, got everybody's tokens airdropped. It was like 26 hours from start to finish. It was so smooth. Um, yeah, I'm glad it worked out the way it did. They wanted to do it manually, and I was just like, no, like that's so dumb. Like you guys are gonna learn, a hard lesson. I've done manual airdrops for a big, bigger projects even. Like I think we had 280 holders. I'm like, this ain't gonna be a fun day for you. Um, but yeah, no, yeah, tech stuff. I program. I make things. Um, got ideas or partnerships or anything, and maybe you know how to do Web3 and you don't know how to go ahead and do all this other stuff, hit me up. Let's go ahead and work on stuff. You can make some money. You can make some money, friends. So, yeah, I think that's about it for this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Drop me some of your cool tech stories. You got some hacker stories or something, tell me. Like, by all means, drop them, okay? I want to go ahead and hear what you guys got to say. Um, as usual, none of this is financial advice or any kind of advice at all. Don't do as I do. This is for story purposes only. Other than that, yeah, deuces, fam. Have a good day. See you in the next one.